Hi, friends, and welcome to this edition of How Relational Skills Address My Biggest Problems. My name is Christy Harang, and I'm glad to have you for this episode of our series where we talk about everyday problems that we all face and how relational skills can help us address those problems in a unique way. So today we're talking about communication and conflict. And so Chris Corsi is here with us to talk about this important topic. Chris, thanks for being
Yes.
here.
Thank you, Christy. I'm really excited about this. This is a timely topic for us to talk about.
Absolutely. So, Chris, conflict is a big thing. We all face it. I think probably even more so now, um,
Yeah.
as life has been feeling heavier, harder. People are dealing with big emotions and anxiety, different things that tends to affect our relationship. It tends to breed conflict. And so when you look on the internet, you look for like, what are the solutions to working through conflict? The big thing that comes up is good communication. So, can you talk to us about that and whether or not good communication in of itself is enough?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And you know what? Yes, you're exactly right. You know what? There's a whole lot of stuff out there on good communication for resolving conflict. And there books have been written, essays. I mean, there's a lot of information out there. And it's a very valid tool in the tool belt. And so, in other words, good communication helps as long as I can manage what I feel and the other person can manage what they feel. So it's a tool that we'll use. The absence of that tool is going to make trying to resolve conflicts very difficult. Like good communication skills are important to navigate conflict. However, in those moments where I get flustered or frustrated, I have a reaction, emotional reaction, somebody else has an emotional reaction, that happens very quickly, Christy. And so when I lose my peace and I'm feeling hurt, I'm feeling misunderstood, I'm feeling wronged in some way, genuine, authentic reaction is going to happen in my brain. The person sitting across from me is going to notice and feel that reaction before they're even consciously aware of it because this right hemisphere to right hemisphere interaction happens at 6 cycles a second, which is very fast. It's faster than I can consciously track. So what that means is the other person's going to feel that lack of peace in a moment. They're going to feel that reaction. Maybe they get defensive all of a sudden because they pick up the sense that there's something going on in me, and then they react. And guess what? That comes back to my brain, and I react. And so what happens is the moment emotions come into play, and it's hard for me to manage what I feel, all that those good communication skills that I've worked so hard to learn are now ineffective because what's happening is I'm having a reaction, someone else might be having a reaction. And so our relational state is compromised. And when our relational state is compromised, then what happens is words and information, not only do they not help, but they can actually be gasoline on a fire. And that's where trying to use words, trying to speak clearly and better, those aren't going to resolve the emotions or those aren't going to bring relief. And so topic is a very important topic because it's helpful to know there are times and moments where good communication is going to like be the thing that helps us just clear up misunderstandings or difficulties or work through something. However, there's a whole lot of places where good communication is not going to work. In fact, not only will it not work, it is going to work against us trying to understand each other's perspective, trying to, return to joy, as we would say it here at Thrive Today. And this leaves people very frustrated. It leaves them discouraged. It leaves them hurt. It leaves them feeling misunderstood because they tried to talk it through and inevitably it didn't go according to plan. So we're shining the light here on something important, especially when it comes to when good communication is no longer effective.
That's so important because as you're talking, the thing that's coming to my mind, Chris, is how many people really have the ability to talk through conflict without big emotions being
Yeah.
present. And it's just, this is so hard.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it can almost feel like, well, what hope is there? But there is. And
Yes.
so, can you chat with us, maybe just giving one example of how one relational skill can help us in this area of navigating conflict, especially when
Yeah.
there's emotions running?
Oh, yeah. There's one skill that is worth highlighting today, and we've talked about how our relational state is compromised. And we know that as our brain's relational circuits. We have a skill. We actually call it skill zero of the 19 skills. It's one of the foundational skills that what happens is when we're using the skill, I can recognize those moments when I've lost my peace and my ability to stay relationally present is starting to fade. And those are moments then I can ask for a pause, or I can basically respond in a way that will help me get that system back online. Or if I see it, you could also see it in other people. So if I start to notice, the person sitting across from me is their relational state starting to become compromised as their relational circuit is going offline, then I can also respond and say, hey, could we take a breather? Or, okay, did something just happen? What just happened here? So we can learn to be aware of it. And when we're aware of it, then we can actually do something about it. However, when we're flying blind because we're not aware of this particular skill, then what happens is we keep trying to use words, we keep trying to talk it out, and we keep trying to help the person see our point of view or to understand us or to see our heart, right? And what happens is at that point, as long as that relational circuit is offline, words are not going to fix it. Words will actually intensify the hurts and intensify the reactions. And what you have is this little ping pong match that's happening where one's reacting, the other person's reacting. Next thing you know, we're both flustered, we're both feeling hurt, we're both feeling angry, and we're no longer able to sit in the same room to try to talk this through because now somebody's going to check out, or I'm going to stop, or the other person's going to stop. And then we kind of look at others and go, what just happened? Like, we started out really well and we come up with lots of reasons why, or this person just isn't hearing me, or whatever it is. The reality is either we are drowning or the other person is drowning relationally when that skill is not being used. It's not part of the equation. Reactions are going to get bigger and stronger and harder to manage. And now our emotions and our feelings and our hurts just feel kind of big and out of control. And we're left feeling hurt and ultimately feeling alone and maybe even hopeless because we really wanted to work through this. And I'll tell you what, Christy, I'm sure we all could probably tell some stories about times where we've tried to talk it out and it didn't go according to plan. And this is one of the big skills that really is responsible for people not being able to work through hard stuff. They're just not using skill zero. They're not aware of what's happening in the moment. The whole interaction just went south very quickly. And it's not a satisfying feeling. And so it's really helpful to know there are relational skills we can use and learn, relational circuits being one of them. But we can learn to recognize, we can learn to actually use solutions that will help us stay connected, help us get back into is what we call relational mode, where I'm back to my relational self. And when I'm in my relational self, then good things are going to happen, even though it's going to be hard, even though there's hurts or there's frustrations or disappointments. Staying our relational selves really is what's going to allow conflicts to resolve in satisfying and meaningful ways that actually grow and improve our relationships. So that's the thing I'm really excited about, Christy, is this is a way we preserve what matters most, which are the relationships with people in our lives where we can live uh, with authenticity and we can live with joy and we can live with peace. And living with joy and peace doesn't mean the absence of conflict. It means that we have the skills to work through conflicts where it actually deepens our relational bonds and it deepens and grows our relationships. And I think that's something we all want. We all want to grow and deepen our relationships, and we don't want conflicts to poke a hole in our joy balloons and just make things really hard.
Yeah. Well, that is such good news, Chris, that there is hope in learning these relational skills. You just gave one example, and that is really like kind of the linchpin, but there
Yeah,
are other skills
yeah,
that
that's right.
also can make a huge difference. And this is important because imagine what our world would look like if we knew how to handle conflict well and we could stay connected through it. And so we want to help you learn how to do that. So we are hosting an event called Conflict When Good Communication Isn't Enough. And so, depending on when you're watching this, the description of this video will either have a link to register for that event, or it will have a link to a post-event online course that we put together so that you can get the content that way. So if you want to learn more about how relational skills can help you navigate conflict, we're going to go much more into depth on this, talk about different relational skills, and just some really powerful tools and exercises that can help you in this area. If you're newer to relational skills and you want to learn a little bit more, you might consider our Foundational 5 intro course. And this takes you through our Foundational 5 relational skills. And we'll put a link to that in the description of this video as well. So, friends, we hope that you have hope that there can be a way to navigate conflict and not end up gutted, or we don't have to run from it or be afraid of it, but we can receive what we need to walk through it well and keep our relationships intact. And Chris, thank you for joining us, for sharing. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day.